The second chakra is the Svadhishthana. It's located, or the area of the body that it's associated with is the pelvis. And it's closely related to the Muladhara, or the root chakra, in that they're both concerned with vitality, the kind of instinctive urges of the life force itself. But in the second chakra, the emphasis is more on an outward movement and connection. So it's here that the life force begins to express itself and to try to get satisfaction and fulfill needs and desires. The problems then in working here become often about having suppressed or repressed desire. So when the energy of the center is deficient, it's contracted, and there's a rigidity and an inability to enjoy life, an inability to feel pleasure. The element here is water. So it gives you both a sense of this flowing and also of the sense of taste. Since when life is juicy, or when anything is juicy, it's the water that's carrying the taste for us. So that taste for life, a taste for food, a taste for sensual experience, but a taste also for experience in general, is the defining characteristic of this center as well. And to be able to regulate or contain that desire and taste related to wanting pleasure is part of what needs to happen here. So the desire for pleasure is not a bad thing. It's just that it needs to be shaped appropriately so that we grow. And that's another connotation with water in a way, where it's water that nurtures growth and brings the flowering. And the traditionally, this center is associated with vegetation and with the wetting and vivifying aspect of that water brings. So the vegetative goddesses are part of the traditional mythological association with the center. And also the vehicle is the makara, which is a crocodile, essentially. And it's sometimes depicted as a mythological creature, which is like a crocodile, but might be, reminds me of a plesiosaur, actually, which was a prehistoric ocean-going animal. But that same sense of being connected to the rather unconscious depths from which life arises, which fuels growth and expansion. So the repression of that, or the blocking of that, ends up with a lack of capacity for empowering will, for accomplishment, for transformation as well, for doing what we need to do in life, keeps us out of touch with our deepest desires, and moving along not moving along, essentially, kind of stuck in a way. On the other hand, if the energy is excessive, or if there's no containment, it's like a river that's in flood, or there is not a channel and it's destructive. So it's dissipated, the energy of it's dissipated in a way, and we're unable to empower will because there's no direction or containment or ability to redirect the energy or the power of this current of life. So in that case, there might be an overindulgence of either emotion or sex or food. There ends up being kind of a ambushing of the deeper intention in life by the excessive indulgence in what we hope is a pleasurable experience, but ends up not being. So when the energy is dissipated and not contained properly, there's often, and this goes along with the deficit energy as well too, the repression. There's guilt or lack of satisfaction, and that ends up feeding a craving, and that's one of the issues associated with this center as well. So the craving is, for example, you want a cookie, you eat it, but you're thinking about something else while you're eating it, so you didn't get much pleasure out of it. You're worried or you're guilty about eating it because you're hoping to lose weight, and here you are eating cookies. So you eat another one because you didn't get any satisfaction out of the first one. And soon you've eaten the whole box, and you're still not satisfied, and now you're even more guilty than before. So that kind of dynamic goes on at a lot of different levels. So it could be an emotional motion that you're indulging in that same way. It can be something like sex or food as well, of course. So the cravings and addiction are partly related into this center, and attachment as well. So you end up being very attached to something that gives pleasure. And again, the clinging or the neediness of it ends up blocking the free expression and the satisfaction that's necessary to expand or grow. So the emotional life is really much based on these, or grows out of feelings that are associated with the instinctive urges. So a lot of our emotional life, which gives meaning to life, is related to the center. So it's a very important place from which our essential vitality begins to blossom out into the world. And in Sanskrit, the word itself, Svadhishthana, means her own abode, her referring to the Kundalini, or that essential potency that defines the unconscious and the spiritual life of all of us, and for which our purpose in yoga is to begin to activate and awaken and make ourselves more alive and more vital and more connected to the divine within.